Confused.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Something Super Podcast. I'm Steve.
Mark.
And guys, again, sadly, John is busy, but we will get him back for a more in-depth episode of what we're going to cover today, which is Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I know that show has been out for years and years and years at this point, but that's something that both Mark and I enjoyed as kids and have rewatched it as adults. And just the show is a knockout, like out of the park, 10 out of 10 for me. It has won awards that like only live action shows have won before. So this is something that's like near and dear to my heart, and it's huge. And they're even building onto that universe now with Avatar Studios. So real quick before we get started here, check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Something Super Podcast and on Twitter at SS Podcast 52. So, Mark, I know you're like super excited to talk about Avatar. So, hit me, like, give me some of your first thoughts and feelings as a kid, and then coming back and rewatching it as an adult. Like, what are those feelings?
So first off, this is a series I watch like once a year. Like it wasn't like I watched it when I was a kid and now I just rewatch it. It's like I constantly rewatch it. Top tier animation, top tier storylines, very mature for it's a very mature show that doesn't act like a very mature show.
Sure.
For me, like I said, I put it right up there with Batman the animated series. Don't at me. I don't even care. Like if you're offended, I don't care. It is that good of a show. Just the character development of everybody from Zuko, and you have Toph, Katara, even Firelord Ozai, who's literally only technically in like one season, even has like a whole story arc and has character growth. It's shitty character growth, but it's character growth. And come on, who doesn't love anything that has Mark Hamill?
Yes. So let me start by saying, like, first of all, Mark Hamill, phenomenal in everything he does. Like, I don't think I've seen a thing where I'm like, oh, Mark Hamill, you suck. No, he is just good. But outside of that, this show is something that it does not matter who you are as a person. It could be one of those things where you can relate. At some point in time during the entire series, you absolutely can relate. And they have so many different types of characters and like the interactions between the characters and like the dichotomy that's going on. It really is such a like an advanced show, and like it was on Nickelodeon. So that right there blows my mind. But outside of all of that, it's something that, like you said, you can watch it every single year and it just doesn't get old. It is good every single time, and you will find new things that you didn't realize before each watch through.
I literally, when I watch it, I have like LED lights behind my TV. So when I watch book one, they're blue because it's water.
Okay.
When I watch book two, it's, I think,
Green. It's Earth.
Well, there's only 3 books. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
there is no air because they're gone.
Oof.
Oof. Big oof. Yeah. Book 2, it's green because it's Earth. Book 3, I do orange for the fire. And like you said, like it's relatable. Like I know one big thing that I related to was like the one episode where Aang loses, like towards the end, when Aang loses his bending. Like I'm still waiting for mine.
Right.
Like my bending stopped and I'm still waiting for it to come back. But
yeah, my knees stopped bending a couple years ago, so I completely understand that.
So I'm curious, Steve. Who was your favorite? Like, if you had to pick one character from the entire series, whether it was based on their story arc, just their attitude, them as a character, who was your favorite?
It is a tough question for me. So like I have 2. I love Sokka and Zuko.
Okay.
Now, I like Sokka because he is one of those characters that's like very childish in the beginning. He is sort of like the man of the house, honestly, in the Southern Water Tribe. And that's because like his father's away being like a war hero, so he, plays that war hero kid. And throughout the 3 books, he masters every non-bending style in all 4 nations. And I have like so much respect for that. He becomes the man that he pretended to be in book one.
And technically, he's an honorary Kyoshi warrior.
Correct. And like that, so that's the
That's
heir.
like me just going and becoming a Jedi. Like I have no business being in that class, but hey, I did it.
Dude,
And
he is, and that's why I love Sokka. Like he is such a good character. And again, his character arc is one of my favorites. I say that, and I have two because Sokka's is like a character arc for good. And obviously Zuko becomes good, but his started on the wrong side of the tracks. And Zuko's a young kid, but he's fueled by like rage and anger because of how his father treated him and how, it's very similar to like if you look at Harry Potter, like Draco Malfoy wasn't a bad kid. His family just kind of like made him like that. So Zuko is trying to get back his, honor. That's like the long running joke in the Avatar series, like honor, honor, honor everything. And then he
Honor, I
eventually,
barely know her.
eventually by book three, he teams up with Team Avatar and like becomes the firebending teacher to Aang and takes down his father with the gang, as they so call it. So he is a great character because his character arc goes from such deep dark places where he wanted to kill the Avatar episode 1 to working alongside the Avatar and being friends as the new Fire Lord in the new, what ends up being like the New Republic.
Okay, I could see that.
All right, what about
So,
you?
so if I had to go with two characters, if I'll do two, because number one for me was Toph.
Okay.
I know she came in later on, but like immediately, like something about her, like she was this blind little girl that knew how to, that used like her earth bending to see, like she was spunky. Number one, the series disrespected her every chance it could get.
Oh, absolutely.
There is literally like a 10-minute YouTube video you can go out and look at. It's literally just Toph being disrespected for hours. Literally, like they throw books at her, they fucking like they like wave to her, like they're like, "Oh, look at that!" And she's like, "Oh yeah, like if I could see." But even her story, like she starts off as like this rapscallion that's like she's just up to no good because she's bored. To where then she is eventually like she earns like she makes people like earn her respect, and I really
Hmm.
do like that. And at the end, like she doesn't let any of her like disabilities or anything in hindsight like get her down. Like she just overcomes everything. So for me, being young, like you didn't see that in cartoons. Not on a serious side. You would always see like the playful joking, like making fun of that kind of stuff. So for me, that was huge. Number two is honestly probably my second favorite animated character out of anything. No, I'll go third. So number one is obviously Rafiki from The Lion King, hands down favorite anime character. For me, number two was probably Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. Number three, Uncle Iroh.
Okay.
Uncle Iroh, like he always start like he didn't have like the same start as Zuko, but like he wasn't like dark like that. But he was on that mission, and I'm curious if he was there. Obviously, he was there, to protect his nephew more emotionally than physically, because Zuko was a tough kid. Like, and people forget that these are like 12 and 13-year-old kids. They're not like,
Yes, they're children.
yeah, like, but like, I don't know. Iroh, I felt was the father that Zuko always wanted but never had.
Yeah,
And but Uncle Iroh is like the father that everybody wants and doesn't have. Like literally at one
absolutely.
point or another, like I'm pretty sure he has one-on-ones with like everybody in Team Avatar, and he's even part of the White Lotus. And that's all shit you don't even like think about. Then like his brother locks him up, and he's in prison just getting fucking hulked out because he knows the what the comet's coming. So he's like, I know I'm gonna be able to break out, so I'm just gonna get beefy while I do it. Like he
Yeah,
always has words of wisdom, his tea. I just
he's
he's
a great character.
I wish he was my grandfather. I love my grandfather, but I wish he was one of them.
No, I completely understand. He is one of those characters that like he is a force for good, even though, and like that goes to show you that he was born into the Fire Nation, which is the antagonist in the entire story, and he is one of the few that does not adhere to that like mindset. Just because he is part of the Fire Nation, he does not mean he's evil.
Right.
Like, so I think that's huge. And like you mentioned the White Lotus. The White Lotus is essentially like the best benders from each nation coming together to be like a force for good. So, I mean, we touch on the Red Lotus when you get into Legend of Korra, and that's like the opposite of the White Lotus. And that, oh my God, we just need origin stories. I want to like a White Lotus origin. Like, how did they get started? How did they come to be? How did Uncle Iroh get roped into it? Like, I want it all. Give me that.
Yeah, like when I always knew Iroh was like a good guy, but like not like a good guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I knew he wasn't like as bad as everybody else in the Fire Nation. Obviously, that's being like I'm generalizing here
Hmm.
because you do meet like people from the Fire Nation that like aren't bad people. They're just part of that nation. And it's the same thing in real life. Like, uh, but I don't know. For me, like this show, it was just so good. Like everybody has a character arc. Azula has a character arc. Katara, like even what you call it? Not Appa, Momo.
Momo.
Even Momo, like they have an entire there. I think there's two episodes. One's like entirely dedicated to just Momo, and one's dedicated just to Appa. Like they
Yes.
give their side characters an entire episode, and they don't even talk. They're just animals. It's like watching
Yep.
Discovery Channel.
Oh, it's hilarious. Momo
Like,
has so much emotion though. Like even though he doesn't talk,
right.
I
I love
love that
Momo.
guy. Oh, he's hilarious. And the fact that if you watch Legend of Korra, there's like an entire family of flying lemurs. So that, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but that show will hands down be one of my favorite animated shows for a long time. Like, I know we usually talk about comics and superheroes and stuff like that on here, but that is one of those shows that it is timeless.
Dude, I'm a straight nerd. I will I'm more than happy to branch out from everything and
Oh,
let's
absolutely. We are
let's
we are
do
here to
it.
talk about that. Mark and
Dragon
I.
Ball Z, Gundam, let's get some Zoids.
Oh, I was just about to say Zoids, dude. That show was so before its time. If it was made today, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was great for back then, but like remake that shit today and do it right. Oh my God. I rewatched the first episode, like
We
season
need
one,
Michael
episode
Bay.
one, like the pilot. Oh yeah, give me like a fucking live action Zoids. That would be bad as shit.
That's what I'm saying. Michael Bay. You need a new
Just
project. Here you go.
yeah, it's kind of like Transformers, but not. But yeah, dude, like I watched season one, episode one of that show, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is so much crazier than I remember it. Cause again, like I watched it as a kid. I kind of had like I knew what Zoids were. I think I built a Zoid because I got it for Christmas or some shit, and it was awesome. Like
I
everyone loves
built
the white
all of the Zoids
liger,
as a kid.
you know. So like I loved that concept. I want to like go on eBay right now and just buy a Zoid. Like I think
Zoids and Bionicles.
Bionicle was.
I,
So like that was one of those things that the concept was so much cooler than I think the movies gave credit for. Like just the Bionicle made by Lego was so cool.
I didn't know there was Bionicle movies. I
Yeah,
just bought
see?
all the people.
I just like Bionicle like the characters, like because they came in there's like a tube. They had like a figure in it. All right, so sorry, we were way off topic, guys. Our
Yeah.
the Mephisto train is off the tracks. So
Choo choo, motherfuckers.
all right, Mark, here's the important question. What bending would you choose? Like which element do you associate with?
Mm, that's tough. I feel like honestly, I feel like I'd be like I know everybody says firebender, but like I really feel like I would, but not even for the fire, more for like the lightning.
Okay.
Because like there's so much good that you can do with that shit. Like, oh, your car battery died? Zap. Oh, you need that generator recharged? Zap. Oh, my phone's dead. Zap. Like, oh, you need there was a hurricane, an entire city doesn't have power. Here we go. Zap.
All right. So conversely, I would choose water bending.
Just want to be able to bloodbend.
I do want to be able to bloodbend, and it becomes such a common thing in Legend of Korra. Like, you don't even need a full moon for it anymore. Like, that's big. That's
So
huge.
it's like turned Saiyan. Like originally it was like we just need Frieza. Now it's like, oh, they're eating dinner.
Yes. Dude, it's so crazy. Like, I know you said you haven't watched Legend of Korra yet, but like give it a go. You know, if you got some free time, just like pop a couple episodes on. It is fucking wild. But like, I think the main reason that I would choose waterbend, like there's so many applications for that. Like there's healing. There's obviously the blood bending, which like, it's kind of a dicey,
I could heal you with fire.
sure.
You never heard of cauterizing wounds?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I could like, we don't have to cauterize a wound. I'll just fix you.
I could heat up your spa. Get that water right up to temperature, get that steam going.
Exactly. So, I mean, for me, it's one of those things like so there's swamp benders in Avatar Last Airbender. Like there's a lot to the characterizations of like each of these elements, it breaks down further. Like there's sub bending, like there's lava bending if you're an earth bender, there's lightning bending if you're a fire bender, there's blood bending if you're a water bender.
I was just about to say I'd actually probably go more earth bending only because like one of my favorite characters is Magneto. And if I learn how to metal bend, I could
Oh,
actually be Magneto.
dude, and that's like the coolest thing in the world. And I love the fact that Toph, who again you said is like one of your favorite characters, a disabled child created an entire new style of bending. So like
Out of
nobody else,
boredom.
yeah, that
Like
nobody else thought to create. She was just like, I'm in a box. Oh, there's some trace pieces of shit in metal. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna bend the earth inside this metal. Fuck you.
what doesn't what's his name technically know how to metal bend? I know she technically created it, but what was Aang's buddy's name? The old ass dude that was a nutcase.
Boomy.
Boomy. Doesn't Boomy technically know how to metal bend? Because isn't he like locked in the box, or does he just break out of it? I forget.
I think he just breaks. Like he's just a strong dude. Also, can we just like these guys haven't seen each other in 100 years, and the first thing he thinks to do is fight his best friend. Like it is a fight on sight. Like, they're just throwing hands the second they see each other, and I love it.
Dude, I love like that's the other thing too. Like every side character, even like you got the cabbage guy.
Oh my god, yes.
Like for our listeners out there, if you have not watched the show, you simply have to watch it for the cabbage guy. Find a friend, find family who have watched it. Just mention the cabbage guy, and I guarantee it, they'll know exactly what you're freaking talking about. He is hysterical.
He is that comic relief that if you're not going to force it with Sokka, because Sokka is a comic relief, between like the cactus juice and the various, situations he puts himself in. But like the cabbage guy, it does not matter where he is. Cabbage dude's getting his shit fucked up. His entire
Right? Like,
all of his cabbages.
and it's not even like he's on the same spot. He
No.
literally like travels the world and his shit keeps getting fucked up. Like,
That's so funny.
What did you think about like Azula? Because I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about her.
Okay, so Azula is the character you love to hate. You are supposed to hate Azula, but then the fight with Katara when she it's like not the Agni Kai, but like basically a duel with Katara at the end. You feel bad for her, and it's
Right.
for
Like,
one reason. One reason, like she has a mental break, and it's not like it's like a normal mental break. Like she's just stressed out. Like her entire life has been in an attempt to like prove to her father that she is worthy enough to take over as the Fire Lord.
right. Like she
And
straight up shuts out like Ty Lee and May. Like she straight shuts them out, and they were like her closest like people.
absolutely. And you watch her throughout the series go from like, okay, she's a little crazy to like straight mentally unstable. And you feel bad because like she's doing it to show her father, like, I am good enough. I am good enough. Like, I'm as good as the boys. I can do anything that, anyone else can do. Like, I deserve to be the next Fire Lord. And she still, first of all, she still gets her ass handed to her. Like, let's start there. But second, there's so much pressure on a child. Like, she is a
Right.
kid who has so, like, whether she puts the pressure on herself or not, she has those expectations from her father, and her father uses that to sort of drive that wedge between her and her brother.
And I always viewed Azula as like what Zuko was heading towards becoming.
Oh, absolutely. If he didn't get banished, that definitely would have been him.
Even if he didn't get banished, like just if he stayed on that path of I need to kill the Avatar, like I feel like he eventually would have gotten to that breaking point where he just snaps.
Yes.
But no, I mean, we always do ratings 15 out of 10.
Oh, dude, it is like it goes beyond a rating scale. Like, that show is fucking amazing. I don't think that there's an episode in that show where I'm like, it is what it is. There are episodes that make you laugh. There are episodes that make you think. There are fucking episodes that make you cry. I don't give a shit. It is fundamentally one of the greatest animated series ever. And I say that with like pure confidence.
Yeah. No, like there's nothing, honestly, there's nothing bad that I can say about that show other than it should have been longer. Like we needed more. Give me Avatar Aang and Fire Lord Zuko. Like give me. I want what happened afterwards. I want to see it.
Oh, absolutely. I want I want so much like, I guess, more in-depth episodes than we got. Obviously, again, it was like put out as a kids show. They were like 22-minute episodes with like, commercials and shit from Nickelodeon. Now, from what I've heard, Avatar Studios is coming out with a live action books 1 through 3 that are supposed to follow the main storyline. But they're like 45-minute episodes. So like realistically like an hour long, or 50-minute episodes that are going to be more in depth. And that is something that I'm so excited for, because they're kind of sticking to the bare bones of like what originally existed. But they're saying like, okay, between this travel point A and travel point B, all of this other shit happened that you didn't get to see that also built these characters into who they are. That's the shit I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and like as long as M. Night Shyamalan stays away from that project, I'm really excited for it. And we're not just getting like the thing that annoyed me the most in that movie. I'm telling you right now, look it up. There's one scene when you meet the Earthbenders, they do like a 4-minute choreographed dance, and literally just like a pebble moves across the screen. And it's so bad. I'm like, dude, like these are the most proud people in the nations. Out of all the nations, the Earth are probably the most proud. And you're giving them like pebbles to work with. Like,
Yep. Yeah, it is
but
one of those. It's one of those things that, like, holy shit, the people that created this series are just masters of their craft. And the one big thing that I really liked was it's not just one of those shows where, like, don't get me wrong, this is not me like shitting on Dragon Ball Z or anything, but like Dragon Ball Z is very like punchy, kicky. There's like a storyline to it, but it's fight sequence, fight sequence, fight sequence, like build up.
right.
Whereas this, and I'm not like,
It's avoiding the fight
well,
in a lot of the
it's a
cases.
avoiding the fight, but I really like the fact that each bending style comes from like a very specific type of martial art.
Right.
So, and I'm not even going to try to like guesstimate there. If I looked it up right now, I probably could figure it out. But like, there are 4 very specific styles of martial arts that they chose and they did research on, and they
I
like
forget
found
which one's
people.
which. They do one's Tai Chi, I think one's Kung Fu. One I think is straight up karate. I think firebending might be just karate or something. But yeah, no, I completely agree. Like they did the research. They did the animation style is ridiculously good.
Yes.
Like,
It really does. It's different.
I just can't praise the show enough. I really can't.
Yeah. So if you haven't given it a watch and you have a good amount of free time, please do. Again, Mark and I just really can't say enough good about it. I wish John was here when we get like our deep dive into like books 1, 2, and 3, and then eventually into Korra. It's like a mini series. John will be here so he can touch more on that. But I want to go like rewatch it right now, like from the beginning. Like I just talking about it makes me excited. I went on box lunch the other day and I bought a Southern Water Tribe like T-shirt. I love the supporting those people, like supporting Avatar Studios. Like it's one of those things that very much like the MCU or like the DCEU, it could go on forever. There's a lot
Yeah.
they could do with it because this is a made up universe. No
Look at
one
Star
else
Wars.
has rights to it. Yeah, Star Wars. I mean, it goes on forever and you could choose time and this, that, and the other. Like it is just beautiful.
You go back and tell our parents when Star Wars first came out, hey, there's not only going to be 6 movies that continue this main story, there's also going to be spin-offs, there's going to be TV shows that aren't even about Luke Skywalker. Their heads would explode.
Yep.
Like, but yeah, no, you gave me something to watch, which is Legend of Korra. So I'm going to give you one. And again, it's not really comic booky related or anything like that. I believe there is a manga to it, but Yu Yu Hakusho, if you have not watched it,
Okay. I haven't. So,
it's on YouTube. It's closer to a Dragon Ball Z, but the
okay.
storyline itself is really good.
Okay.
So I won't lie, the first season's a little bit, it's very direct, but like the first like 10 episodes, it's like the guy's learning to use his powers. So they're very like campy episodes. But once you actually start getting into the episodes, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I will. So I've again
It's
heard of it.
on Hulu.
Okay. I have Hulu. So,
It's on Hulu. Because I would love to do episodes about that. And even if it's just like the first 1 or 2 seasons, like
okay.
the second season is probably the best season. There's like, it's essentially take like, Dragon Ball Z, how Dragon Ball used to do like the martial arts tournament portion of the season.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like that's the whole second season. It's like a team tournament. Like it's. I'll talk more off, but oh my god, it's so good, so good. But as far as Avatar, man, I mean, the only thing I hate about Avatar is that I can't go back and watch it again for the first time.
Yes. And that's one
Like
of those things. Like if you haven't watched it,
you're kind of lucky, but
yeah, like get
you're a
that
loser.
first Do not shame our listeners, Mark. We lost DC and we lost Marvel sponsorships the last episode. I'm not losing listeners now. God damn it.
No, we love you guys. Shout out to our peeps in Bermuda that we just added recently as well.
Yes.
Guys, I mean, we couldn't be more happy and excited for where this is going. Please just keep showing us your support. And yeah, we appreciate all y'all.
Yes. So much. Thank all of you for just, I mean, listening, supporting, giving us, shout outs online. Like we very much appreciate you guys. We're going to try to interact with you more. When we started this whole thing, we didn't really know the direction we were going to go in. And I mean, we're pleased to see that we've been steadily building an audience. We're not shooting to the moon overnight, but we're doing what we can to be the best that we can be.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got, unless there was anything else you wanted to add. Obviously, like you said, we're going to dive much, much deeper into detail of the Avatar universe. But for now, I mean, like you said, I'm ready. Probably just gonna go rewatch it now.
Yeah,
Like, let's be honest.
Yes. I really need to do that, honestly. But yes. All right. So last but not least, give us a like or a follow on Facebook and Instagram at Something Super Podcast, at SS Podcast 52 on Twitter. And then we are on all of your major streaming apps. Share us with a friend or a family member. We would love to expand our listener base, and please interact with us. We would love to hear what you guys have to think and say, and give us some suggestions on things to watch if you haven't picked up anything new to watch from listening to us. Last but not least, I'm Steve.
Mark.
And we'll catch you guys next week.